one of the problems you got when politics dominates world affairs is that you get distracted by the whole issue of politics. Now, whether that is globally, Trump versus Xi Jinping and the debate over trade, or more domestically to do with Brexit and of course the recent resignation of Theresa May as Prime Minister. But I think it's very important that investors realise that these events are never really new. There's always something bothering us politically, and they come and go. There's an old saying that stock markets climb a wall of worry, and that's absolutely true. And I think it's very important to look through the politics and focus very much at the fundamentals. Yeah, we've been asked a lot recently what our views on politics are. We're agnostic with regard to politics as on the investment team. I guess you'd be somewhat surprised if you discovered that the investment team comprised wholly of communists. It doesn't. They tend to lean towards being free market liberal capitalists, which is our instinct because we are part of capital markets. But when you're looking at how those markets are affected by events and whether Brexit is relevant to them, the answer is to an extent yes and no, because whilst the whole of our parliament has been distracted by Brexit for the thick end of 2.5 years post-referendum, in fact coming up 3 years, the UK economy has actually been doing okay. And that's a reminder that you shouldn't get over concerned by politics. You must focus on the fundamentals. Yeah, those positives over the last 2 or 3 years are that the public sector deficit has come down dramatically. We've more or less flattened off debt to GDP ratio now, which is excellent. GDP growth has not been fantastic, but it's been pretty good post the EU referendum. In fact, we've outperformed Germany in terms of GDP growth since June 2016, and very few people would have thought about that. And a huge success story for the UK is its labour market. We've got one of the lowest unemployment rates in the world. We're down to 3.8%. So whilst we're worrying about things that can be improved, we should never forget to celebrate what is actually very good. You're right. There are a group of people within those people that are employed that have got part-time employment that would want full-time employment. There are also some people in the gig economy that would rather have full-time jobs, but they're actually a minority. The majority of people working in the gig economy love the flexibility. So it's not right to say that every temporary worker, every part-time worker, every gig economy worker would rather be in a full-time stable job. Believe it or not, lots of people like freedom of making their own choices. We don't all want to be bureaucratic civil servants. Yeah. Now, perhaps the biggest surprise to people looking at this will be that despite our obsession with geopolitical tensions, trade wars, and Brexit at home, people are actually happier than they've been for years. If you look at the ONS's recent surveys on well-being, over 80% of British people, when asked how they felt yesterday, said they were satisfied, and over 70% said they were either happy or very happy with their lives. And that's an interesting thing, isn't it? When you change the question from how do you feel about your nation, people will generally say in despair. But when you ask them how did you feel about yourself yesterday, they say satisfied or happy, and a lot of them say very satisfied and very happy. Never ever confuse politics in the country with how individuals feel. So the lessons for us, or what do we take from the current situation? Never get distracted by the politics. Never let the politics stop you making decent decisions. And there's another theme you can hang on to here, because whilst politics often seems very messy, through all that mess, you get wonderful things happening in society. As I said recently, with the Plantagenets, you had regicide, patricide, every other form of side. They were an extraordinarily dysfunctional family. And yet we got the birth of Parliament. We got the birth of common law. We got the uniting of a nation. We got improvements in the economy. We got improvements in agriculture. Lots of great things happened during the period of their reign. And it's no different today. You have to set aside what's going on within Europe, within Brexit. And what we do as an investment team is focus. Which companies do we think are going to go on doing well? Which asset classes do we think are reasonably priced? And where are the risks to the markets? For us, it doesn't lie so much in the trade wars. It doesn't lie so much within Brexit. And probably the one thing that you've got to watch out for at the moment is the rise in debt. But ironically, not within the developed nations, but in Chinese families and companies. And that's probably the thing that keeps us awake at night. It's not Brexit.